As a key focal point in the 2012 election, the production of oil and gas through hydraulic fracturing has become a controversial conversation between not only political parties and government agencies, but in communities, households too. With misinformation from faulty studies, it's easy to understand why hydraulic fracturing and domestic drilling causes such anxiety. It's important we disregard the negative hype, recognize the positive effects of oil and natural gas extraction, and take advantage of our country's natural resources. The process of hydraulic fracturing on American soil is absolutely necessary for building a prosperous economy in the United States. I ask that you open up your mind, rid yourself of all preconceived notions, and join me in the efforts to supporting the rebuild of America. The production of oil and gas through hydraulic fracturing is going to help grow, first, the gross domestic product, representing the total value of goods and services produced in a country over a specific period of time. A gross domestic product is an indicator of how strong an economy is. A low GDP signals low wages, high unemployment, small company profits, and a depressed stock price. In 2012, the United States GDP was measured to be at $15.68 trillion. $237 billion of this was contributed through oil and gas alone. This dollar amount is forecasted to reach $416 billion by the year 2020 should the industry continue to expand. Another great example of how gross domestic product is affected from oil and gas is through the study conducted by the University of Colorado Boulder. At the end of the study, it was estimated that $12 billion would be cut from the GDP should a fracking ban take place in Colorado. The number may seem small, but when we're considering that the fracking ban affects only production in Colorado, it becomes quite large. The domestic drilling for oil and gas is also going to contribute to job growth. The same study conducted by the University of Colorado Boulder reported that 93,000 jobs would be lost should a hypothetical ban take place in Colorado. Of these 93,000 jobs, 68,000 will be lost in the first 5 years, and the remaining 25,000 jobs being lost over a 20-year span. Also, information handling services reported that 600,000 jobs would be created by the end of a decade as a result for drilling. President Barack Obama found this number to be so influential that he cited this in his January 2011 State of the Union address. IHS also concluded that 3.5 million jobs would be created by the end of 2035 because of domestic oil and gas exploration and production. Also, the consumer is going to greatly benefit. A domestic energy source will allow Americans to save hundreds of dollars on their home and heating electric bills per year. In 2013 alone, $75 billion was saved, which equates to approximately $650 per American household. This money can then be generated and put back into the economy, whether it's through investing or through creating a larger buying power per household. Ronald Bailey cites in his article for Reason.com that because of Texas and Pennsylvania production for natural gas is priced at $3.50 per 1,000 cubic feet. This is a very low number when we consider that countries in Europe and Asia are paying on average $10 to $16 per 1,000 cubic feet for natural gas. Should the United States cease production, we can expect to be paying about $10 to $12 per 1,000 cubic feet for natural gas. I bet you're now asking yourself, but what about the claims that fracking is hazardous to my health and the environment? It's true, communities living near wells have feared their safety and their water due to reports of higher methane levels measured in the groundwater. However, after extensive baseline testing, it's been proven that the higher methane levels are a natural occurrence due to the abundance of the oil and gas found in the ground. These high levels have been found pre- and post-extraction, and the water was ultimately deemed safe by the Environmental Protection Agency for drinking and bathing purposes. Fracking solution that's used throughout the process of hydraulic fracturing has also been called into question on whether or not it's hazardous to people in nearby communities. It's important to understand what fracking fluid is comprised of before we deem it safe or not safe. Fracking fluid is made of 99.5% water and sand, and the remaining 0.49% are additives like sodium chloride, ethylene glycol, borate salts, sodium potassium carbonate, guar gum, and isopropanol. All of these we can find in household products, or we even consume them in our foods. Because of the composition and how we expose ourselves on a daily basis, it's very safe for us to be around and in the vicinity of fracturing fluid. Lastly, the potential of methane and other greenhouse gas emissions leaking during the process of drilling have been believed to contribute to quick climate change. After research conducted by the Proceedings of the National Academies of Science, these fears can easily be put to rest. The research provides evidence that methane and other greenhouse gas emissions released from natural gas and oil extraction are not contributing to the climate change. However, the levels emitted are in fact 10% lower than the levels in standards set by EPA. The utilization of natural gas to power electricity in place of coal is actually lowering CO2 emissions. 2012 CO2 emissions were lowered by 23%, and this number is only expected to grow as our dependence on natural gas becomes greater and the use of fossil fuels like coal becomes weaker. Natural gas produces less air pollutants as well, rather than coal. It contains more energy and is becoming a cheaper alternative quickly. It's been noted that the reduction in air pollutants reduces the overall likelihood of health problems, especially affecting those nervous system, inner organs, and brains. For these reasons, natural gas is a cheaper, greener, and cleaner alternative to fossil fuels and should easily be taken advantage of. Hydraulic fracturing is a key component to the economic success of our country. The American people will only benefit from a growing economy, job creation, savings, and a cleaner energy source. The uncertainty and apprehension of activist groups and political parties have been addressed and proven illegitimate. The time for America to rebuild is now, and the allowance of hydraulic fracturing could be just the beginning. So please join me and advocate the use of hydraulic fracturing and help America to become an energy independent nation.